Hello everybody, we're getting ready to go over the ninth grade math of the curriculum map, and let's see what we got here. So ninth grade math, classwork, homework sheets, quizzes, tasks, and then the overall pacing guide for ninth grade math. And then students, if you want to enroll, I want you to take a diagnostic test, which will take 25 minutes. Email me here for your appointment on your diagnostic test. So let's go into your ninth grade math fourth quarter here. So for our pre-test, we have Algebra 1, which is a quiz of 8.8 .22. I want you to take that first. Let's see how you do on that. If you do well on that, then I'll enroll you in this course in the ninth grade math. And then for week 1, we start here. We go into quadratics here. We start with quadratics. And you got homeworks, and you can turn in your homework virtually here. So you'll be able to do that all online. And then graphing quadratics. So you graph quadratics. And then you have homework. Everything can be turned in online. And then you can solve quadratics by graphing part 1. This all happens, students and parents, in week 1. So we get right after it with video or animated PowerPoint. So you have 2 options there. And then week 2. This symbol here means a quiz. So you have a quiz on week 2, which is implemented using Scribbler or Explain Everything. So you could have 2 different interfaces that you sign up for, and that form will be sent out when you enroll. And then we go into here, solving quadratics by graphing, and then using square roots to solve quadratic equations. And then we have homework. Yes, you got homework. You got to turn in homework to pass this course online. You got to turn in homework. And then solving quadratics by completing the square. We get into completing the square. In your second week here for ninth grade, Algebra 1. And then week 3, your third week, you have another quiz on your third week, and your third week will involve solving quadratic equations by completing the square. Then down here we have solve quadratic equations by the quadratic formula by the third week. And then you have homework that you have to turn in. That's part of your grade, is homework, a big part of your grade actually. And then solving systems with quadratic equations, part 1, part 2. And then you have homework for that as well, all in your third week. By your third week, you have 2 quizzes. So you have quiz up here in your second week, and then a quiz down here in your third week. So you get graded, we get right into it very quickly. And then fourth week, by week 4, you have another quiz. And we get into comparing linear, exponential, and quadratic models. So we get into linear, exponential, and quadratic models by week 4. And this is all animated PowerPoint and or video, depending upon you have access to video as well as animated PowerPoints for your instruction. And then modeling relationships by using the skills that you've learned above here. And then we have a review and summary for chapter 9, which I wait till week 5 to test you. So week 5, I test you for chapter 9 up here. You get a chapter 9 test during week 5, and you'll be given ample warning for that. Chapter 9 review and summary, classwork homework part 3. You have part 1 and part 2, which is up here in week 4. And then part 3 is down here in week 5. And then you have homework, homework, homework. And then you get tested here in week 5 for chapter 9. And then we go into chapter 10, which is something completely different by analyzing surveys and samples, which is more of a it's more of a statistical analysis of surveys and samples, and then using dispersion of central tendency and dispersion. We get into more of a, this is more of a qualitative critique of samples and surveys on your week 5 for 9th grade math. And then week 6, we continue with analyzing data. And this means here that you have a quiz during week 6. You have interpret stem and leaf plot and histograms. So we get into histograms here on week 6. And then box and whisker plots, we get into that as well for week 6. So you get a little bit, you get quite a lot here of statistics on week 6. And then week 7, we have a quiz on week 7, another quiz for chapter 10, and then we have a test here for chapter 10. So you have a quiz and a test for chapter 10 after we go through the review and summary for chapter 10 classwork part 2, and then you have a homework which you turn in for chapter 10, and then you get a test. And then we go right into chapter 11, finding probability and odds. We go into probability and odds, finding probability using permutations, part 1, part 2. And then week 8, we have another quiz. We have another quiz for chapter 11, finding probabilities using combinations, part 1, part 2. And then find probabilities of overlapping disjoint events. So we definitely get into more statistics and probabilities using Venn diagrams in 11.4. And then week 9, we have a test. Again, for chapter 11, we have algebra 1 test for chapter 11. And that is after we do a review and summary of chapter 11, part 1 and 2, and then we have a classwork for chapter 11 for review and summary. This is your homework up here, 1 and 2. Then we have classwork part 1, classwork part 2 for your review and summary of chapter 11. And then I test you for that to see how much you've learned. And then finishing up here with our quiz outlines here. This means a quiz. We have a quiz on week 2, 9.3. And then we have a quiz on week 3 for 9.6. And 9.6 we have a quiz. And then week 4, and then for quiz 9.9, this happens during week 4 here, so we have quiz 9.9. And then week 5, we have a test. For chapter 9, we have a test for during week 5. We will have a test for chapter 9. And then week 6, we have a quiz, 10.2. We go into chapter 10. And by 10.2, which is a week later from chapter 5, we have our first quiz for chapter 10. And then week 6, we're not done yet. We have another quiz. After 10.5, we move through the lessons of 10.5, and then we have a second quiz here for chapter 10. After 10.5, we have another quiz. And then week 7, we have a test for chapter 10. So we have a chapter 10 test on week 7. And then week 8, we have a quiz after 11.2. After we go through lesson 11.2 classwork homework, we have a quiz in week 8. And then week 9, we have a test for chapter 11. For chapter 11, we have a test for, and that happens on week 9. And that is your Math 9 for 9th grade math, which is Algebra 1. And animated PowerPoint math video at AOL.com for questions or course materials. Thank you very much.